There is a power greater than any financial difficulty you have ever faced. That power is the word spoken with unwavering faith. When you take a scripture and declare it as your truth, you activate a divine law that begins to work beyond what your eyes can see. Many people beg for money, plead for supply, and worry themselves into lack. But the word says, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Your tongue is a tool. It is either shutting the door of prosperity or swinging it wide open. When you speak this verse, not as a plea, but as a decree, everything begins to shift in your favor. The verse is simple yet profound. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. These words are not just poetry, they are a spiritual contract. When you affirm this with conviction, you step into the flow of divine abundance. You are saying, there is no lack in my life because I am guided, supplied, and sustained by infinite intelligence. The world may show you bills, debt, and limitation, but the unseen supply is limitless. When you hold to this truth and speak it daily, without fear and without doubt, you align yourself with the law of prosperity. Money is not your source. God is your source, and God never runs out. Imagine yourself like a tree planted by rivers of living water. You do not strain, you do not struggle. The roots draw in everything needed. The right opportunities, unexpected channels, and streams of income begin to appear. Why? Because you have spoken the word, and the word does not return void. Speak this verse morning and night. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Speak it when fear tries to creep in. Speak it when lack tries to show itself. Speak it with authority, knowing that as you do, divine substance flows into every area of your life. Your finances multiply, doors open, and your path becomes clear. Declare it, believe it, and watch the law work. The spoken word holds immense creative power. Every time you speak, you set in motion unseen forces that shape your reality. Words are not empty sounds, they are spiritual commands. When you speak with intention, you give form to the invisible, you pull substance out of the unseen realm and give it direction. The law responds to your word because your voice carries authority. Creation began with words, and that same principle still operates today. If the universe was spoken into existence, then your world is shaped by what you say every single day. The spoken word is not just a tool for communication, it is a spiritual instrument that governs conditions, circumstances, and experiences. When you understand this law, you realize that nothing in your life changes until your words change. Many people pray and hope, yet their speech cancels their faith. They declare lack, they complain, they affirm limitation without realizing that every negative word is a seed producing after its kind. The law does not discriminate, it simply returns what is spoken with belief. This is why Scripture emphasizes the tongue's power to create life or death. Your financial situation, health, relationships, all respond to what you consistently declare. When you speak words of abundance, you align yourself with the divine flow of supply. You create an inner and outer vibration that draws opportunities, resources, and right conditions. When you speak words of fear and doubt, you block the flow and invite more lack. The spiritual law cannot work independently of your word because the word is the command. Silent thoughts carry power, but spoken words amplify it. They crystallize intention and give it energy. Every decree becomes a blueprint, and the universe begins to arrange itself to match the pattern you have spoken. Many people think affirmations are just positive thinking. They are far more than that. An affirmation is a declaration to the law. It is a statement of truth that sets order in the unseen. When you say, I am divinely provided for, you are not making a request, you are commanding alignment with a spiritual fact. The more you speak it, the more you impress it upon your subconscious, and the more the subconscious works with the universal law to bring it forth. Repetition is not for the law. It is for you, so that your faith becomes unshakable. The spoken word works because it is backed by belief. If you speak without conviction, it is like giving a command without authority. But when your word is charged with faith, it becomes law. It does not matter how impossible your situation looks. The law only responds to your spoken truth, not to appearances. When you decree something with unwavering confidence, the power behind your word is irresistible. Doors open, supply comes, and obstacles dissolve because spiritual law cannot be broken. The word you speak with faith becomes flesh. It takes form in your life. Therefore, guard your speech. Speak only what you want to see. Declare abundance, health, and success, even when the evidence around you suggests the opposite. The spoken word activates spiritual law and sets miracles in motion. It is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the key that unlocks divine substance. Speak as if every word is a seed, and it is, and soon you will reap the harvest of the reality you have decreed. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, is more than a comforting phrase. It is a decree of abundance, a spiritual statement that carries the authority of truth. When you speak these words, you are not merely repeating scripture. You are activating a divine law that governs provision and supply. Each word in this verse is charged with power. It begins with the acknowledgement that the Lord is your shepherd, your guide, protector, and provider. A shepherd cares for every need of the flock, ensuring that nothing is lacking. When you declare this, you are affirming that your life is under perfect guidance and care, and therefore there can be no lack. I shall not want is the boldest claim of faith. It does not say, I hope not to want, or I wish I had enough. It states with absolute certainty that lack has no place in your experience. This is the language of spiritual authority, not uncertainty. When you affirm these words, you close the door to worry and open the door to limitless supply. You align with the reality that all your needs are met before you even ask. The verse is not about future provision only. It is about present sufficiency, a state of being where abundance flows freely and continuously. Every time you repeat this decree, you impress it upon your subconscious mind. The subconscious does not argue. It accepts what you consistently declare and works to manifest it through every channel available. When fear whispers that money is short, declare, I shall not want. When bills pile up, declare, I shall not want. These words shift your vibration from anxiety to trust, from limitation to expansion. The law responds to faith, veiled words, and this verse is a perfect expression of faith in action. Prosperity begins with consciousness. If you see yourself as lacking, you create more lack. If you see yourself as guided and supplied, the law brings that vision into form. Speaking this verse plants the seed of abundance in your mind. It tells the universe that you are ready to receive, that you recognize God as your source, and that you refuse to accept anything less than plenty. Money, opportunities, resources, and ideas are drawn to the one who declares this truth and believes it without doubt. The Lord is my shepherd means you are never alone in your financial journey. You have a source that cannot fail, a guide that never misleads. Human channels may dry up, but the source remains inexhaustible. When you rest in this knowledge, fear loses its grip, and faith becomes your foundation. The declaration, I shall not want, breaks the mental pattern of insufficiency and sets the tone for overflow. It is a decree that transforms thought, and thought shapes experience. When you say this verse with conviction, you are not begging for help, you are acknowledging what already belongs to you by divine right. Supply is not something you chase, it is something you claim, and this verse is the ultimate claim of sufficiency. It states that every need is met now, that abundance surrounds you, and that no circumstance can contradict divine provision. Speak it daily, believe it deeply, and watch as the unseen becomes seen. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Is more than scripture. It is a spiritual law that guarantees prosperity to the one who dares to declare it with unwavering faith. Faith-filled speech is a powerful force that can completely transform any situation, no matter how hopeless it appears. The words you speak are not ordinary sounds, they are carriers of energy, vibration, and creative power. When those words are infused with faith, they override what your physical eyes see and call forth a higher reality. Appearances of lack are illusions, temporary conditions that seem real only because you give them power through fear and negative speech. But when you choose to speak words of faith instead of words of worry, you shift the entire atmosphere around you. Faith-filled speech is not wishful thinking. It is a declaration of truth in the face of contradiction. It says, I refuse to agree with lack. I agree with abundance. The moment you speak in faith, you disengage from the limitations of the physical realm and connect to the unlimited supply of the spiritual realm. This is why the greatest spiritual laws emphasize the spoken word. You cannot speak defeat and expect victory. You cannot speak poverty and expect wealth. Your words either reinforce the problem or declare the solution. Faith-filled words release divine substance, and as you persist in them, the seen must conform to the unseen. When appearances of lack surround you, empty bank accounts, unpaid bills, overdue debts, it is easy to fall into fear and complain. That is the trap most people live in. They give all their power to what they see, forgetting that what is seen is temporary and what is unseen is eternal. Faith-filled speech refuses to acknowledge lack as final. It speaks abundance when there is none in sight. It says, I am abundantly supplied, even when the pockets are empty, because it knows that words create before conditions manifest. The law responds to conviction, not to appearances. Every word spoken in faith plants a seed. Just as a farmer does not doubt the seed he places in the soil, you must not doubt the words you speak. The harvest does not come overnight, but it will come. The conditions may look dry, the soil barren, yet underneath, the process has begun. When you continue to speak in faith, you water that seed with expectation. On the other hand, when you speak fear and doubt, you uproot the seed and block its growth. This is why consistency matters. Faith-filled speech must be constant, even when circumstances scream the opposite. The key is understanding that appearances are only reflections of old thoughts and words. They are results of yesterday's consciousness. You cannot change them by worrying or analyzing. You change them by introducing a new pattern. Faith-filled speech aligned with abundance, health, and success. Say what you want, not what you see. Declare, I live in an abundant universe. All my needs are met. Money flows to me freely and constantly. These words carry vibration. They impress the subconscious and set the law in motion to produce after their kind. When you make this your practice, something powerful happens. Fear loses its grip, doubt weakens, conditions begin to shift in ways you could not plan. Unexpected income, new opportunities, divine ideas, and favor start showing up because faith-filled words create openings where none seem to exist. You rise above appearances and leave from the higher law, knowing that lack is only a shadow, and shadows vanish when light appears. Your words are that light. Speak in faith, and the darkness of lack will have no choice but to disappear. God is the infinite source of all supply, and when you understand this truth, you break free from fear and limitation. Most people believe their income comes from their job, their business, or a particular person. They look at these channels as their source, forgetting that they are only instruments through which supply flows. A channel can change, but the source never does. Jobs may be lost, businesses may slow down, people may disappoint, but God, as the infinite substance of the universe, is unfailing and inexhaustible. When one door closes, the divine law of supply opens another, because the source is not tied to a single avenue. This understanding brings peace. When you rely on visible channels, you become anxious when they appear uncertain. You fear losing your job, you panic when clients stop calling, and you feel powerless when one stream of income dries up. But when you place your trust in God as the source, fear dissolves. You realize that channels are many and unlimited, and new ones can appear in ways you never imagined. Divine intelligence is always working to provide, and its methods are beyond human reasoning. It can use any person, any opportunity, any circumstance to bring you what you need at the right time. When you believe that God is your source, you stop chasing and start trusting. You no longer cling desperately to one channel out of fear it will disappear. Instead, you know that your supply is as endless as the ocean, flowing from an invisible, spiritual reservoir. The more you acknowledge this truth, the more freely the flow moves toward you. Gratitude becomes your natural state because you see every gift, every opportunity, and every dollar as evidence of a limitless source working on your behalf. This principle also explains why worry blocks abundance. When you worry, you are identifying with the channel instead of the source. You are saying, if this job goes, my supply goes. That belief shuts the door to new channels because you have placed all your faith in something temporary. But when you declare, God is my source, I can never lack, you open yourself to unlimited possibilities. Suddenly, ideas come, opportunities present themselves, and resources flow from directions you never expected. The law responds to faith, not fear, and faith in the source creates miracles. God's supply is not limited to money alone. It includes health, love, ideas, creativity, peace, everything that makes life rich and full. The same law operates in every area. When you need guidance, God is the source of wisdom. When you need strength, God is the source of power. Whatever you require already exists in the infinite, waiting for your recognition and acceptance. The visible channels are simply temporary instruments, like faucets through which water flows. If one faucet closes, the water does not stop. It finds another outlet, so it is with your supply. Affirm daily that your good comes from an unfailing source and refuse to let appearances of lack disturb you. Say, God is the source of my supply, and I am abundantly provided for. Feel the truth of those words until they become your reality. The moment you let go of dependence on people or circumstances and put your trust in the infinite, the flow begins. Channels may change, but your source is eternal, and as long as you align with it, you will never experience lack. The word never returns void because every word spoken with conviction carries life and creative power. When you declare something rooted in truth, it sets spiritual law into motion, and that law cannot fail. Words are not empty sounds, they are commands to the unseen forces that govern manifestation. Every time you speak, you are planting seeds in the fertile soil of the universe. Those seeds cannot remain dormant, they must produce according to their kind. This is why your declarations are never wasted. They either build the reality you desire or reinforce the conditions you fear. When you speak words of abundance, healing, and success, those words take shape in the invisible realm long before they appear in the physical. It may seem like nothing is happening, but spiritual law is at work, arranging circumstances, influencing people, and opening doors to fulfill the decree you made. The word never returns void because it is creative by nature. Just as a seed carries within it the blueprint for a tree, your words carry the pattern of what they declare. If you persist in speaking truth with unwavering faith, manifestation becomes inevitable. Many people fail to see results because they cancel their words with doubt. They declare abundance in one breath and speak lack in the next. They plant seeds and then uproot them with fear. The law responds to consistency. When you keep affirming your good without wavering, the unseen substance gathers around your word until it becomes visible. The moment you let go of doubt and hold to your word, you align with a power that cannot fail. The word never returns void because it works independently of appearances, timing, and logic. Once released, it goes forth to accomplish its purpose. Your words are living forces. They do not vanish into thin air. They move into action the moment they are spoken. When backed by faith, they draw the necessary conditions to fulfill themselves. This is why you must be careful with casual speech. Negative statements carry the same law as positive ones. If you constantly talk about lack, struggle, or fear, those words do not return empty either. They return with more lack and struggle. The universe mirrors the vibration of your language. Speak defeat and defeat appears. Speak victory and victory manifests. Understanding that the word never returns void should make you deliberate in your declarations. Speak only what you want to see, even if everything around you suggests the opposite. If your finances look low, affirm prosperity. If your health seems weak, declare strength and wholeness. Do it with confidence, because the word is creative substance that must bring forth after its kind. There is no such thing as idle words. Every utterance is a seed. Some seeds produce quickly, others take time, but all produce according to their nature. When you declare something based on spiritual truth, you align yourself with an unfailing principle. It does not matter how impossible it looks. The law does not operate by appearances. It operates by faith-filled speech. So hold your word. Refuse to speak against your good. Let every statement you make be one of power, faith, and expectation. The word never returns void. It accomplishes exactly what it was sent to do. If you plant it in belief and water it with persistence, the harvest is certain. Your life today is the result of words spoken yesterday. Your future will reflect the words you speak now. Choose wisely, speak boldly, and watch your words return with abundance and blessings overflowing. So today, take this verse and make it your constant declaration. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Say it in the morning before you begin your day. Say it when fear tries to rise. Say it when bills appear and when opportunities seem delayed. Speak it with authority, not as a plea, but as a truth already established. Each time you declare it, you plant a seed of abundance, and those seeds will grow into a harvest beyond what you can imagine. Do not wait for conditions to look perfect before you speak. Speak now, speak in faith. Speak knowing that God is your unfailing source and that no circumstance can cancel His supply. As you hold this truth in your heart and on your lips, watch how doors open, ideas flow, and provision comes from unexpected directions. Your words have power, your faith has substance, and your declaration has set the law of prosperity into motion. Keep speaking the verse, believe it with all your heart, and prepare to see your finances multiply in ways that will amaze you.